Hello and welcome to the Providence College podcast. I'm your host, Liz Kay, and I'm joined by producer Chris Judge of the class of 2005. Here on the Providence College podcast, we bring you interesting stories from the Fryer family. For the last year and a half, supporting teaching and learning through the COVID pandemic has been the main priority for Providence College. Despite the challenges presented by COVID, however, the college has made some progress on environmental goals during this time as well. Here to tell us about these projects is Jill Parrett, PC's Director of Environmental Health and Safety. Jill, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So, Jill, even for a small college like Providence, we need a lot of electricity to keep the lights on, literally. So the college's solar farms are really good news. Can you tell us a little about this project?
Yeah, so PC is basically invested in solar farms in Warren, Rhode Island, not to supply our power directly, but as kind of an offset. People may have heard of that. Since greenhouse gases are they impact us globally, investing in renewable energy is often helpful rather than to take those steps to cut out that much on your own space. So this way we're helping, the larger picture as we make improvements here to increase our energy efficiency.
I mean, because we're never going to be able to reduce our energy use 100%, right? We're always going to need something to power.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we don't have the space here for large-scale renewables. We dipping our toe into rooftop units here and there with solar, but we just don't have the space. So this way, we can continue to make the improvements we're making. We're doing, efficiency projects all over campus. But eventually we'll be offsetting almost 50% of our annual power use with these solar farms, and that would be next to impossible for us to do here at the campus.
And so right now, when did those farms? I think the first has already come online, right?
Yes, the first came on January 1st of this year, 2021. There's two more planned. I believe the schedule is for the end of 2022. So when we get into calendar year 2023, that's when we'll have all three online, and the end estimate for offset is 45% of our use here on campus.
That is really phenomenal.
Yeah, good news, right?
Definitely. And so at this point, though, without those two farms, I think you had mentioned it's about a quarter of our energy use that's being...
Yes. Yeah, I think it's 26%. And that's estimated based on, average, sunny days and such. But it does seem after the first 4 months that we're on track to just about get about 26% this year.
That's right. One of the challenges for solar in the New England area are rainy days and snowy weather.
Yes, exactly. But when you look at it over a larger, maybe 10-year cycle, it tends to even out. So,
great. So we don't have to feel as guilty about the cool temperatures in our offices, because at least we have a little bit of some of that offset.
Yes.
So, Jill, there's also something new and exciting happening behind the scenes with food waste at Raymond Dining Hall.
Oh, yes. We're super excited to be running a pilot composting program starting now. We're just getting the logistics underway. Partnering with Sodexo, they're very supportive of sustainable measures throughout our dining halls. So there is a local place called the Compost Plant. I believe their facility is in Johnston. They process waste from various businesses and institutions like colleges into compost for local farms. And they also produce their own energy that it requires to make compost. It's not completely hands-off. So they have an on-site anaerobic digester as well. So I believe our waste is destined for the digester, but for the greater goal of composting and going back to the earth. So we're super excited.
Definitely. And so, but this is all going to be behind the scenes, right? It's not students clearing their plates. But...
Yeah. So this is really a first step. Composting, as wonderful as it is on a larger scale, sometimes on the smaller scale can have challenges. Contamination, which we see a lot with recycling anyway, pests. So this way we're going to do Sodexo employees back of the house are going to be collecting all their waste from, scraps of veggies and meats, that sort of thing. And we'll have daily pickups by the compost plant. And we're hoping that it's pretty seamless.
And they're going to be, all the Sodexo workers are going to be trained in the processes, so they'll follow these rules to the letter.
Yes. And as we're in the last, week of summer, we're busy getting those underway. There was a huge renovation project. I think the first phase was this summer. So there's a lot going on at Ray. So we'll hopefully get everybody up to speed next week and get the logistics settled.
I think students and families will have a lot to look forward to when they see the new spaces on campus that have been refurbished and redone. And it seems like all of this renovation gives the college a lot of opportunity to make environmental progress also.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anyone that's been here knows that we have some aging buildings that need renovation. So it gives us a chance to evaluate potentials for increasing efficiency or using more sustainably sourced products. For the Ray cafeteria, for example, we have energy efficient appliances and coolers. They've made improvements to ventilation, which in Ray and in the ALMAG renovation that's going on right now. So they can use a more demand flow rather than just a constant high flow. So that'll help with our HVAC energy use, which is substantial. They're using efficient lights. They have variable frequency drives on all their pumps so that it's not, similar to the exhaust. It's not just one high speed. The lighting I mentioned, but also the occupancy sensors that we have all over campus. Those are going in these new spaces as well. So it gives us a chance to see what the end goal is, but also see where we can fit in some more sustainably minded aspects of the project.
Well, it's good to hear that there'll be new efficient appliances going into Ray. Those are probably the largest refrigerators on campus.
Oh, yes. There's big industrial, coolers and ovens. It's quite an operation over there.
And so with variable speed, like exhaust, instead of having like high, medium, and low settings, it'll adjust based on the type of...
Yeah, it'll be, more demand-based rather than, it's on or it's off. And we'll see the same type situation with the fume hoods in the laboratories and ALMAG.
Excellent. So, yeah, those ALMAG renovations are going to be amazing. Albertus Magnus was constructed in the 40s. I think it might have been the second building built on campus after Harkins. And there have been some changes, but not many. So that's going to be a huge bonus for campus for sure.
Yeah, it's a huge job. Oftentimes when they set up, utilities at the time that Albertus Magnus was constructed, it doesn't necessarily meet, codes now or standards or best practices. So, this summer, it's the first summer that I've been around for a renovation, but I think this one was probably the most disruptive because it was really a huge gutting of all the utilities in the building. So,
got it done.
Yeah.
Jill, with the composting pilot, I think you had mentioned that students were involved in getting that set up.
Oh, yes. I think so. We at Providence College don't have a position like many larger colleges have, a director of sustainability. We have a committee who all has, other occupational responsibilities. I really feel like we're a campus where things are best received when students get involved. I think it is easier to, it's one thing if your EHS person is pushing for something, but getting students involved with their time and effort and their voices has been critical in the composting for sure. And, we've seen it through, recycling improvements and other projects around campus. So we definitely need the students. This year is my first year as the advisor to the Eco PC Club. The previous advisor retired, so I took over. I'm looking super forward to a more a better communication, more in-person stuff. I'm really excited to start working with them on that.
Definitely. So some students, when they return to campus, may also notice the banner on Slavin announcing that Providence College is part of the pesticide-free PVD campaign through the city's Office of Sustainability. Can you tell us how that came together?
Yeah, it was based on networking that we've done as part of the both the state and the Providence area Green Infrastructure Council. I think for years Providence College has been a showpiece for green infrastructure, which is stormwater management. It's draining roofs and permeable areas to bioswales rather than just straight to the combined sewer. So we're managing a lot of wastewater on site where have beautiful gardens that are actually functional for that purpose. So anyway, we've been working with Providence closely on that. And their Office of Sustainability reached out and said, hey, we're pushing this campaign this year, pesticide-free PVD. We're looking for institutional partners. And it fit really well with the discussions that I'd been having with our landscaping company and our grounds crew here about trying to use as little pesticide as possible, trying to more, if we have a beautiful green campus, and that's very important to everyone here. And it's also very, very highly used. There's always people sitting on the lawn and playing games. So if we need to use pesticides, we use, the pesticides of least impact, and we use them in the most targeted way possible, rather than, this whole lawn is going to get sprayed. It's this plant is, we're going to spray and then pull to kill the roots kind of thing. So, it was a really good fit for us, and it also gave us an opportunity to publicize it a bit for the city. They're looking to have homeowners involved as well, and renters. It's been kind of a cool way to get to know people at the city and to move something along at a time when there wasn't all that much moving here on campus.
Well, and it's interesting to note, the progress the college has made on stormwater management, and it's been honored, by the state for the work diverting water from the bay, in terms of that. So as students and families come back to campus, they can enjoy the pretty gardens and the bioswales in the center of campus that are used for both that are certainly decorative and a joy to be around, but are a great home for pollinators, but they serve that great purpose, right, for diverting water.
They're very highly designed to be functional, and they have the bonus of being aesthetically pleasing as well. And, just walking around this summer when things are quiet, the amount of pollinators and monarch butterflies I've seen here in, the middle of Providence has been really, really gratifying.
Absolutely. So we're all getting back, and hopefully I know you've been focused in environmental health and safety with the pandemic more than anything else, but, what's in store in the future? What are kind of grander plans that we can hope for?
So as I mentioned before, we have a sustainability committee, which has been quiet during the pandemic. A lot of people not on campus, and looking forward to kicking things off with them again. As far as, I've been trying to focus while I can on things that are easy for my office of two to kind of get moving ourselves, to get the word out that, sustainability is important here. We've done the big move out donation collection. We'll continue that in the future, but I was really proud of that this year. We got quite a lot of food and clothing for local charities, so that will continue. So, all the small stuff, or the smaller stuff, it was quite a lot of effort, but it was only two of us. That'll continue, and then hopefully, we're getting in front of projects in the very earliest of planning, so we can try to tie in larger, perhaps more aspirational type sustainability measures. So yeah, it's hard to talk about specifics, I suppose, at this time. But I'm just happy to start meeting and get some ideas from students and from the committee.
Jill, could you tell us about your 30 Days to Earth Day campaign and how that went this year?
Oh, sure. So being so new, that was really my first, EHS outreach, I think. I had a student worker, and we put our heads together. We created a calendar that were, an environmentally conscious activity every day leading up to Earth Day. I think it was great. It wasn't a huge turnout, but it was a weird year. We got about 50 students and about 50 faculty staff involved. I also got, it was really, I don't know, it ended up working out well for me because it created connections with people that are interested in this type of activity. I got suggestions, I got questions, I was able to, refer people to other environmental organizations in the area. I think there were 5 or 6 different people that told me that they did that based on, the 30 Days of Earth Day. They reached out and did local cleanups, which is super exciting. I'd like to do more of it in the future. I probably did it a little last minute. Maybe it can be a little bigger next year. But really, it kind of introduces me to the campus and really hopefully publicizes that, the best ideas don't come from me or necessarily the committee. They come from students that are interested. They come from, faculty that have a friend somewhere else that, they did this and it worked well. I don't know. I want everyone to know most of all that the ideas and involvement are super welcome.
And what were some of the activities that were part of the 30-day countdown? You mentioned cleanups.
There was, media-related ones where it was, watch an environmental documentary. There were donate or volunteer with a local organization. And then, very small-scale things like reusable water bottle, bring your own utensils. We tried to make it larger and community-based, but also some very small, like household-related things. And I sent out periodic emails with some resources for people. I think, it seemed like people received it well. I was super happy to make those connections and to put those resources out there. And I don't know, maybe next year we'll do something a little bigger.
Jill, it's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, of course. My pleasure. Thank you.
Subscribe to the Providence College podcast in all the usual places, including iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, and Spotify, as well as your smart speaker. If you like what you hear, please review and share with others. Thanks for listening, and go Friars.